Dana and I having one of our fun conversations about Western dressage rail classes and leaving feedback for organizers.
So you did mention a rail class, and I just wanted to ask you more about those because I actually don't know anything about the rail classes, but I find them interesting and I find them maybe something that I would want to show in if I knew more about it.
Well, rail classes are sort of like regular open horse show classes, and these are classes where you go in the ring all together, a whole bunch of horses, and they call off some gates and you do what they say, and then they line you up in the middle and give ribbons.
And that is that for Western dressage?
And this is in Western dressage. So
Okay.
I'll just mention a couple of them.
Okay.
So one of them is what is called suitability. And suitability is a class where you're you're going to show a horse in a class against other horses on the flat, in the ring all together, where the premise is that this isn't a super experienced Western dressage horse. Yes, so you can't have shown above level 1 and go in this class. By the
Okay.
time you get to level 2, you're not qualified to go in this class. It's sort of like you're not green enough because
Hmm.
because you've already proved that thing's suitable. If you got to second level, it's
Okay.
suitable. Okay, so
That makes
you
sense.
gone past that. You're not a beginner anymore. The horse isn't. So the suitability class is judged very, very much on, um, it's kind of like so much percentage of gaits, so much percentage of typiness, so much percentage of manners, and they're looking for a horse that its natural, cheerful way of going is suitable for Western dressage work, that it has enough gait to be, it doesn't have to be like a big warm blood. It just has to be a horse that looks like it has lots of energy, that it's
Hmm.
harmonious, that it's balanced enough to get around, and that it's below level 1,
Hmm.
and it's in there. And it's being judged on these percentages, just like a rail class. So they come in going left and they walk, jog, and lope, and they do some free walk, and they reverse and do the same thing. And the judge lines them up and they take their number and they present the ribbons.
Okay, so just like a regular, like what
Yes.
hunter
Yep.
jumper equitation class, something like that.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
interesting because I
Yes.
don't see any of those classes actually held at, I mean, I do schooling shows a lot still, but I don't see any of those offered around here.
Yep. The other couple of well, there's 3 more classes. There's equitation, and equitation, we have there are 2 types of equitation, or horsemanship, it's called in Western dressage. So the rail class is just like an equitation rail class. You come in and you walk, jog, and lope to the left, and walk, jog, and lope to the right. And there are a few things they can ask you to do, like, back up, or
Mhm.
lengthen to jog a little bit, or whatever. But there's no pattern to it. You are
Okay.
all together in the ring, and they mark you just like an equitation class, and they
Mhm.
give the ribbons. Then there is a hack class, dressage hack. And, if you think about road hack, they call for every gait that a Western dressage horse has to do. So there's a lot of gaits. It's a little bit longer class. And generally, and the thing is if your horse, if you go in a hack class, your horse is no longer legal to go in the suitability class. Because
Okay.
because the hack class asks for extended lope, it asks for our lengthened jog, lengthened lope, it asks for all the advanced gaits that are in level 2 through 5. So you do collected walk,
Mhm.
you do collected jog,
Okay.
lengthened jog, lengthened lope. You're doing all the collected and lengthened gaits, and you have to halt and you have to back up. And
So
so
again,
it,
your horse is
it's
suitable.
it's an advanced, this
It's
is an
already
advanced
suitable.
class. Yes,
Yeah.
this is the advanced class. And so your horse, if you put it into a suitability, into a hack class, it's no
Mhm.
longer, it doesn't go in a suitability class.
Got it.
So if it graduates from suitability and it goes into hack, it doesn't back up. So the
Mhm.
hack classes you're looking, these horses are the horses that are really showing a lot of potential for level 2 through 5, and they already be showing some collection and some real true lengthening of gaits. And they
And
show,
this is with multiple horses in the ring when you're
yep,
doing this still. So you're
yep,
doing the extended jog and extended lope with other horses in the
yep.
ring?
Sort of
Okay.
like, hack classes, hunter hack used to do
Yeah.
hand gallop. We're doing
Okay.
it all
I do
together.
remember doing that. I don't know why now. That sounds terrifying to me.
Well, if they get over a certain number of horses, management splits the class too. Like if they
Okay.
get over 8 or 10 horses, they split the classes.
Got it.
They don't have, at Worlds, they have a huge ring. So they may split their class at 20 horses or 10
Mhm.
horses, or, when I went to Appaloosa Nationals, we used to split the classes at 25, but we were in huge rodeo arenas.
Mhm.
But if it was 25 or over, they split the classes. But I don't remember what they split the classes at Worlds last year, but they split the
Okay.
classes. But you're in there doing it all together, and then halt and back up and take the numbers and recombine the class if they split it, and do it again. And it's a flat class.
Got it.
So there is one more set of classes which is kind of unique, and it's called horsemanship. And
Okay.
this is pattern equitation riding, which you're more familiar with at open horse shows. It's very short patterns for equitation, and the patterns are listed in our rule book, and they're listed on the WDAA website under
Mhm.
horsemanship patterns. And those are broken down to, um, horses and riders that are in walk trot. So that's the beginning. Then if the next level is kind of intermediate, then your walk, jog, lope, and
Okay.
that's kind of level 1 and down. And
Okay.
then, walk, jog, lope, more advanced, sort of level 2 through 5, because we're expecting those equitation riders to be way more effective,
Mhm.
and the patterns include some more difficult maneuvers in them. But they're
Okay.
very short patterns. Like these patterns take, I don't know, 2 minutes, a minute and a half. They don't
Okay.
take long. I
And you're
think,
by yourself, right? You're not.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's like an equitation class in a regular horse show where you're just doing a pattern. You
Mhm.
know, horse 461, and horse 461 goes out and does their thing, and then they go back and stand in the paddock, and then horse 98 goes in and they go out and stand in the paddock. So you're all standing around in the paddock outside waiting, and then they go in and take your turn doing your pattern, and then they mark you. And
Got it.
the only other thing that happens is at Worlds, they offer one more class where they have a class that you do the rail portion and you do the pattern portion. And it's only at the really big shows that they
Mhm.
offer all this stuff, but it is there. And the first day, those are the classes that are going on in the arena the first day.
So
Oh,
that's why the ring isn't set up yet.
yes, because
Got
they're
it.
doing this stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So could I do these horsemanship equitation pattern classes virtual showing? Is that
Actually, some shows offer those.
Mhm.
I know that I have judged those for better dressage scores, and it wouldn't surprise me if I think Spotlight horse shows might offer those.
Okay.
Um, there are several organizers that offer those.
Am I going to get different judges' comments because it's an equitation class than I would in the other classes?
Yeah, almost none.
Oh, so you're not going to get a lot of
It's
comments at
not a
all.
lot. It's not a
Okay.
lot. It isn't much, because when you're running 40 people through a ring and you have a minute and a half,
Got it.
I you usually, well, here's the thing. If you were in a live show and there were 40 riders, you would just get your numerical score, because I have a
Okay.
scorecard for each person. And as you go through the maneuver, I put down a score, and there might be like, if there's even 3 words comment, because you're
Got
in
it.
the ring a minute and a half, there's almost
Yeah,
nothing,
not much time.
not much time. And
Mhm.
so at a real live horse show, you would get your numerical score, and then be placed by that numerical score. And you don't see the scorecards. Those are not
Right.
released
So it's
to the
not the same
competitors.
as the level classes where you're going to get the comment per movement. This is
Right.
just a pattern and you're just going to get a score. Um,
Hmm.
so what kind of benefits am I going to get out of riding these classes, I guess, for that?
Well, you're going to see what score you're going to get, which
Yeah,
is
okay.
going to, kind of get you going there. And there are organizers that are offering school that are offering points in this.
Okay.
And a number of the organizers do offer prizes for these kind of things.
Okay.
So um,
What
I
exactly are you, so I guess what exactly are you looking for in this horsemanship pattern class? Is it my equitation? Is
yes,
that solely,
yes,
okay, so it would be, so my score reflects my equitation. So if I'm seeing my scores go up, I'm getting better equitation.
yes. And
Okay,
the
that's helpful
emphasis,
because I'm working on that.
yes, the emphasis isn't on the horse. And
Okay.
like for example, uh, one little girl that I happen to know in Western dressage, her horse suffers um, a little bit from navicular, and
Hmm.
he has his days when he looks pretty sound, and he has his days when he doesn't look so sound. She
Hmm.
primarily only rides online.
Hmm.
But she finally contacted me and said, the vet says that, with the shoeing that he has on and whatever, that they feel like he's relatively comfortable, but he's never going to be perfectly even. Did I feel like she doesn't want to ride him very much, but the horse is really stressed being retired.
Hmm.
Did I think it would be okay if she went in the equitation patterns, because she's only riding a minute and a half on a horse that's really well schooled, that's a mature horse, and she's a very lightweight child.
Hmm.
And would I think that that was unkind or anything like that? What did I think about that? I said
Hmm.
I thought it was a really good option because I know this horse, it goes absolute bananas when you just turn it out and do nothing with it.
Hmm.
He's not going to get better, but he isn't getting worse, and they have him stabilized, and he's just not quite even. And what happens with that is that when she goes in a regular dressage test, her scores are affected by, she's doing a great job riding the horse, her geometry is really good, but her
Hmm.
comments are, just ever so slightly irregular six, ever so slightly irregular six. He's regularly irregular. And
Hmm.
her vet is saying, I don't, that he feels like the horse is okay to be ridden, and that this is as sound as he is going to be. He's serviceably sound.
Hmm.
And for this little girl who's lightweight. And so she said, if I went in an equitation pattern, will they be scoring me, not so much on him? And could I possibly make a change in myself until, she needs to buy a horse. She needs to buy a horse, and it's going to take her about 7 or 8 months to save up. Her parents said she is saving up, and she's working a job to do it. Could you
Hmm.
please ride her pony until then? I thought it was a great idea, and she
Yeah.
did through most of last year. And some of these organizers for online, she didn't haul it anywhere because she thought it would be hard on him. I thought she was very careful with the horse, and she improved her riding, and her tests and her patterns got better. And the online judges would actually give her a few little more comments than the live ones do, because there is a space for us to type, and we
Hmm.
take more time. So she did get some little comments, which
Hmm.
she called me and we went over. I gave her a little virtual lesson and we went over those, and I go, okay, well, they want you to fix this and this and this. Let's work on that.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where they were not judging so much that horse's gaits as they were judging her. So that was
Hmm.
good.
Hmm. Yeah, I like that because they don't have a lot of the horsemanship pattern classes at the shows I've been to. So it is interesting to learn a little bit more about them. And then maybe, because, I do virtual showing, maybe try it out, and see what it's like that way.
Yeah, you don't get as much feedback, but
Yeah.
it's another skill. And
Mhm.
one of the things, one of the things that I think is real specific about that is having your camera set absolutely perfectly for the judge, and writing the test with an eye towards what exactly it is that the judge can see, because they only have a minute and a half, and those
Okay.
patterns, not all of the patterns were written with those patterns, some of them were written before we realized we would be judging really online exactly.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so there's a real knack to presenting them.
Are you still shooting from C?
Yes, you should
Okay.
be. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Yes.
Yeah.
But
That's what you're supposed to be doing.
you're supposed to be
Have
doing
you seen
that.
some
Yes.
that haven't been shot at sea?
Um, Occasionally organizers get some that aren't shown from C, and we have to do one of two things. If they are trying for real PAP points, which are going into WDAA for points, we have to tell them this isn't going to be legal. We can't accept it.
Okay.
Now,
I was
have
gonna ask if you have to reject it.
I have to reject it.
Mhm.
However, most of those organizers beg us, and most of the judges, we are so soft-hearted. I have judged some crappy video stuff I can't see, and I don't know, I got no references or whatever. We
Mhm.
judge them for them because we don't want the organizers to lose this customer, because this is the first time they've come in, and we don't want to reject them and say, go away, we don't want you. We do want you. We just
Yeah.
need you to learn how to videotape your tape. So
Yeah.
very carefully, kindly judge them and say, I'm sorry this isn't legal, but I'm going to judge this and try to give you your feedback, so
Mhm.
that even if they're eliminated for points, they get some feedback. And we get a
Yeah.
chance to attach the instructions of how to
Mhm.
videotape it to their
Yeah.
test when it goes back. So we're trying to use it for an educational purpose
Mhm.
to draw them in.
Yeah.
And
And I
there's
love
not,
that because it supports them continuing to do it. Because I know sometimes writing, like I've gotten comments and I'm just like, oosh, I feel like that's harsh. I'm not doing a good job. But then I get somebody who has a comment who can put it more in a what I call fluffier way to be like,
fluffy.
like the compliment sandwich, right? Like a compliment, and then you give the feedback, and then you give another compliment, but really to motivate, keeping people wanting to do better.
Yes, yes, because we get some wacky videos sometimes when they begin, really tough stuff like they're a mouse at the end, no zoom at all, or the ring is
Yeah.
so dusty they're just disappearing, or a lot of times they don't, because of memory on the phone, they don't, then they're using their phones, they don't
Mhm.
put it up to the highest resolution for us because it doesn't
Yeah.
occur to them to do that. They're running their phone all the time on a low resolution because your memory's full. Well, you
Mhm.
can't do that for this. It's got
Mhm.
to be on the absolute highest resolution for us, because you're way down there and my pixels are all,
Yeah.
I can't see their arms, I can't see their hands, I can't see their reins. I
And
can't
that's
get
good to know because I don't feel like a lot of people actually know that they can change the resolution. And that's probably a setting. Like it's
it is.
probably something that maybe, you don't really think about. You just think, okay, I'm just going to record. So definitely
Yes,
you can go and change that to help have a clearer picture for you.
it's true. Yes. And on a regular basis, they use their phones to record all the time, but they need as much space as possible because all of
Yeah.
us have thousands and thousands of videos and photographs on our phones, and we're
Mhm.
just loading them on. And so then they go to tape a horse, and they're just, hey, it's still set on the same settings they've been using just for YouTube, or
Mhm.
just for
Just for their
Facebook.
videos and
Yeah,
photos. Yeah. Just their
yeah,
regular.
of
All
family and
those
friends.
photos of their horses.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just, that's how it goes. So
Yeah.
they don't realize they need much better quality if they want us to evaluate it. And if I can't see the details clearly, I'm restricted from giving anything
A
higher
higher
than the
score.
6.0, 6.5 is satisfactory.
Got it.
I can't guess, and I can't judge higher than that. Even if you're way down there and it kind of looks okay, something that
Mhm.
kind of looks okay, I can't give that a fairly good because I'm not sure what your hands are doing. I can't
Yeah.
see the reins against the horse's neck. I can't see if your
Mhm.
fingers are closed. No, I'm not. I'm restricted from doing that. And I'm not being mean. And the poor people, they go away that, oh, she doesn't like me. I don't know you. I can't see you.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah, if
sorry.
only you wish you could write that probably like, all of those comments on there
Yes,
to make people understand a little bit more.
yes.
Have you ever had somebody who's had a terrible video and then, they get the feedback or, whatever you give them to do a better video and you've seen the next time that they've tried really hard? Does that really exciting to see?
It is. It is really, really exciting to see. And that generally happens if you work a couple of times in a row for the same show organizer because they tend to have the same clients.
Yeah.
And you do notice that, oh, at the first of the year, they had bad videotaping and I had a hard time seeing them. And it'll be somebody that has kind of a unique horse so that you recognize them again, because I
Hmm.
don't recognize the names. I don't look at the names of
Hmm.
the people. And then the other thing is when you see that they read the comments and you go, wow, this one's getting better. Like she must have
Yeah,
read the comments. It's great. It
I
makes you
like that.
feel good.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, that must be exciting to see on your part.
it is. It
Hmm.
is because a lot of times judges don't get a lot of feedback, and if
Hmm.
they do, if you get any, tends to be complaints. Because
Of course.
very few people, but there'll be somebody that'll just be like, they'll complain to the organizer, well, she
Mhm.
didn't like me, well, I usually get blah, blah, blah score. And
Yeah.
the organizer is required to let you know that you've had a
Mhm.
complaint. But it's almost, you never hear that someone was like, wow, this judge was awesome.
Mhm.
You don't hear that.
So
Those
the
don't
same,
come.
so the same way you can complain, you could go to the organizer and give good feedback as well, is what I'm hearing.
You could. Yes.
Okay, that's
Yes.
good to know
Yes.
because yeah, if
Yes.
you really loved your experience, go ahead and give that good feedback because on your part too, like I would love, you get all those complaints, but it probably feels really good on your part to get some really good feedback.
Once in a while someone's kind
Yeah.
enough to think of it, which is really a big deal. And it's not only just on online competitions, but at any licensed organization, if anything goes wrong, there's a form for USCF that people can fill out saying, hey, the manager made a mistake on whatever, or the licensed official, like whatever. There is a form for every horse show that's USCF that you can write in about management, licensed official, describe, whatever. And people do. And
Hmm.
I'm not saying that they are not always, sometimes they're really legitimate, and sometimes
Hmm.
people complain about things which they just don't know the rules well enough, and they don't know that they're upset, like, but they don't realize that that's just how the rule goes. It was applied to you, and I'm sorry you
Yeah.
complained, but that's how this rule goes, and that's, you just fell into that rule, and that's it. But you can
Yeah.
also use one of those forms to say, this judge was incredibly kind. She was very fair to me.
Hmm.
Something unique happens, like the papers blew into the ring and you stopped them. You could say, she really gave me an opportunity that was fair. Um,
Hmm.
Anything. Like you can, yes, you can remark that
Hmm.
you thought the management was awesome. You thought the facility was great. You can write anything on those forms to let those people know that they're doing a good job. Or if there is something, even if you could say, like, I really need more parking,
Hmm.
uh, because our trailers are big or something, but I really appreciated how much the show ran on time. Even if you do have a suggestion for
Okay.
something better, because
That's good too, because there's definitely been horse shows that I've gone to and I've stopped going because one of them was an arena and they had a food vendor and they put the food vendor right next to the arena, really close. And they had metal spatulas that hit that flat top and it would
oh,
always hit when I was in the ring and my horse is noise sensitive and boom, there goes my test. So I guess a better way to go about that was to put in a suggestion saying, hey, could we move the food vendor away from the corner of the arena? Because I may have still went to that show venue then, but I just kind of stopped.
The one person or two people that are very significant for competitors for that kind of thing also is the steward or technical delegate.
Okay.
And when you, like, let's say the first day, if you had complained about that the first day, there's a real chance that by the second day that vendor might have moved.
Mm,
And you don't have to be unkind about it, but you walk
mhm,
up and say, that was really a concern for me.
mhm.
And, I'm going to stay tomorrow, but if this keeps, this isn't a good placement for this.
Yeah.
And the manager is another person that's in charge of this kind of thing. So the manager, the technical delegate, fills out all of the paperwork that goes into USEF and makes recommendations and is a person between you and the management, kind of a go-between, and looks at the rules and everything, and they can help with this kind of thing. So telling the steward or technical delegate is helpful, and it makes
Mhm,
their report, which again reminds them for next year when that report comes out, hey, maybe we shouldn't do that.
mhm.
And if you go to the office and say, just gently, because they're of course tired and they don't get paid much, so it's
Mhm.
not worth their time, but
Yeah.
gently say, hey, that's really close. Is there any chance that that vendor, if you can't move them this year, could you maybe consider not doing that again?
Mhm.
And you wait and see what they say. But those are the two people for that kind of thing
That's
about the
good to know.
facility.
That's good
Yes,
to know. Yeah.
yeah,
Because I
that's
didn't
great.
know that. I just stopped going. But maybe they could have just moved the vendor for the next couple of shows, if they knew, because they probably didn't know because they're not inside the arena.
Right.
Um, so yeah.
I
Well, that's really good information. I really like talking about all of these things because I feel like there's a lot of things that when you're starting out, or maybe you've been in Western dressage that you just don't know. You just don't know these things.
Yes. And the more we talk about these things and the more experience we get, it makes everyone more comfortable
Mhm.
and, can all do a better job together and work
Mhm.
together at the shows and in the
Yeah.
competitions and have better opportunities for everyone. And that's what we're hoping to do. So
Yeah.
it was
Yes,
good.
I love that.
It's great talking with you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you too.
Bye.
Bye. If you like the information we provided today, don't forget, subscribe, like, and share. Also check out IdaNorrisDressage.com and Ida Norris Western Dressage on Facebook.